Okay, welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we are going to talk about how you become one of the best lifters in the world. Okay, so I think this is pretty universal across the board. I don't think it comes down so much to programming or dieting or supplements or drugs. I absolutely wholeheartedly believe the best bodybuilders, weightlifters, strongman, crossfitters, Olympic lifters are the ones that can go the longest without getting hurt. Eventually, the iron is going to win and something's going to tear, pop, you're going to get hurt, something's going to happen. For instance, look at Brian Shaw. Look at he tore his hamstring a couple times. Hathor Bjornsson tore his pec. Look at Larry Wills, tore his bicep. Jay Cutler tore his bicep. Phil Heath, hernia. Nick Walker tore his hamstring. Dorian Yates tore his tricep. Like, eventually the iron is going to win. Ronnie Coleman destroyed his back. So I think the biggest determining factor of who becomes the best is the ones that can go the longest without injury while they progress over the years. And it's the ones that have the injuries and they get hurt and they get injured and they have setbacks and they have to restart, then rebuild back to where they were. And then they get hurt, then they have to reset and rebuild back to where they were, get a little bit further, they get injured, and so on and so on and so on and so on. And I think that's what holds back most people from actually unlocking their greatness. I'm not talking about the guys that can't stick to their diets. I'm not talking about the guys that can't stick to a training program. And I'm not talking about the guys who just don't have the heart to get up to go to the gym, guys or girls. I'm talking about the ones that have the drive, the motivation, the determination, and they have the heart for it, but they always seem to fall short. It's not from a lack of effort. I think what it comes down to is injuries.
I know a guy like that.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it is going to be difficult for some people. Some people like yourself, like you tend to be a bit more injury prone, but it's mostly on non actual exercising kind of activities that you kind of get some of your worst injuries. But like
Yes, that's
when
true.
when things like that happens, like you at least for yourself, you have that determination of like, okay, I hit that setback, but you're still going to get in there and try and recover and get back to where you were as quickly and safely as you can, sort of thing. You're not just going to let it be like the thing that stops you altogether. And that's another thing I think for the people, the real greats, whatever, they have worked out and eventually they've gotten the injuries, but the ones that are like the elite greats have gotten injured, and after the injury they went, all right, that sucks, but I'm not done yet. Like I'm gonna get through this, and I'm gonna keep moving forward. They didn't just give up because of the injury.
Yeah, but typically speaking, they've normally became on top of their field and they became the best of the best in the world before the injury took place, which allowed them to hold those reins for as long as they did before the injury started coming in place. Just like myself, like every time I started making serious progress and started advancing in what I was doing, injury would occur and something would happen. When I tore my groin, my squats weren't the same. When I tore my other groin, the squats weren't the same. Whenever I tore my hamstring, again, my intercostals, again, my other intercostals, again, my pec, broke my sternum. I had a lot of issues, and those are the things that like held me back from pushing further than what I ever was able to go, because every time I would come over one of those injuries and I overcome it and I start to progress and move forward again, it would hold back my training because I would be almost not almost I was afraid to re-injure that area, and then I would eventually get over that fear. Then I was able to start progressing and training, and then sure enough, me and my brittle genetics, something would pop, tear, or render me useless for a couple of weeks until it was able to heal up. And I would do my best to get back to it as fast as possible, but it never was the same after that. And even if you notice all the greats,
It's once they even professional athletes do the same thing. Like they get injured in their sport, and I mean they still are really good at their sport, but they never push themselves like they did before to be as great as they were before because they're scared to get injured. They know what that feels like. They know like, oh, when I push a little bit more than this, that's when it happened.
yeah, and I don't think it's the fear of the pain, because for me, it was never the fear of the pain. The pain didn't bother me. It was the fear of the downtime. Like, how long is this going to put
Mm-hmm.
me out? How long is this going to set me back? How long am I not going to be able to do what I love to do while I'm recovering? So I'd rather hold back, sandbag, and be able to do it then go full throttle and then hurt myself again. I mean, look at Brian Cushion, look at Arian Foster, look at
Even J.J. Watt.
yeah, J.J. Watt. I mean, even look at a lot of the NFL
Why are you
players.
laughing at that? Because Arian Foster was always hurt.
No, it's like the references for
Oh,
like
our
they're
Texans players.
well, the Texans players, but they're a bit older. Texans players, 'cause it's been a while since he's really stayed up with those players, whatever. But yeah,
Yeah, well, I'm not really big on team sports, but like
Yeah,
for a little
I know.
for a little bit there, I was watching and stuff like that. But even still, saying once they get hurt, like J.J. Watt was like top dog, like he was like amazing. Everyone knew his name, and then once he got hurt, it was just a domino effect, and it was just over and over and over and over and over again. And now it's like he's a shadow of what he used to be. He's a shell of what he used to be. And who was that one guy who used to play for the Raiders? Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson. He was a phenomenal ball player, baseball and football, until he dislocated his hip and had to have hip surgery. And then after that, like he just never was the same. And like I said, I think that's the biggest difference between people that become elite, top of their sport, or people that become people. I think this is what holds people back from becoming elite, like athletes and lifters. And then the ones that do become elite are the ones that don't make it or they don't stay on top very long. It's because of injury. Not everybody. Some people just burn out. Some people just get bored, and some people just need a change of pace, and some people just lose heart for it. But I'm talking about the people that have heart, that this is like what they live for, like thoroughbreds.
yeah, and I mean you're still gonna have like some like well, how did I say it? Like not freaks of nature, but like
Genetic freaks.
but no, like there's been injuries. Like there's been athletes that have had injuries and they're able to come back from the injury much quicker than the average expected like return rate is, and also perform at even better than where they left at. So
Well, that's one of those things. If you throw enough money at a problem, and a lot of these guys, when they get to those levels, if they have enough money, your problems tend to go away a little bit faster than others. But all jokes aside, yeah, I get what you're saying. There are people out there that have got hurt, and they were able to recover a lot quicker than was expected. But also, a lot of those people, though, they got re-injured or they injured another area of their body from nursing, babying, or trying to pull back from that, and they try to shift the load or the weight from that area to something else to overcompensate, and it led to a different injury a lot of the times too, though.
Yeah. Well, like with me, when I hurt my ankle, whenever I tore the ligament, or what was it exactly?
It was a ligament. So a little recap on her. She was a competitive cheerleader, and she did gymnastics, and she was a cheerleading coach. So that's what she's talking about when she hurt her ankle, being a cheer coach.
Yeah, I was showing the kids some cool tricks on the trampoline, and I was wearing Hey Dudes instead of the proper shoes, and it turned my ankle in, and I tore the ligaments off on my ankle, and I was in a boot for a long time, had a hard time walking. I did push myself faster than I was supposed to, and I don't know, it's been over a year, and I still have the pain. Like, I could do everything I could do before. I could walk, I can run. Hey, I can run. Can you?
No, I can't. Every time I run, I get hurt.
And I can do everything I could do, but like it's still not the same, and I don't think it will ever be the same.
Yeah, and I don't wish this on anybody. Like I hope that no one ever experiences injury or getting hurt. I mean, it happens, and then I think the people that do get hurt or injury prone like myself, I have the ability to help people understand how to go about rehabbing or rehabilitating or working around an injury, because I've been there and I've experienced a lot of pain and issues. And I think there's a lot of people out there that never had to experience that, so they don't understand it. And I hope that they never do experience it and they never have to understand it. But it's like there's this book, it's called The Gift of Injury, and I really like the title because it's like it speaks volume, because it's like, yeah, if I never got hurt, then I would have never learned how to rehab this. Then I would have never learned how to help people in this area that I've helped out. So it's one of those things, like it's a gift to others what happened to me, and I get to share my experience and help them learn how to heal their injuries that I've gone through the same thing that I've gone through and stuff like that. So it's a downer for me, but it's also an upside that it allows me to be better at helping people, and I enjoy that. But I'm not saying that I enjoy getting hurt, because if I could trade that all up and get rid of all my experience of getting hurt, I would gladly give that up to be a much better athlete.
yeah, and like I was saying a little bit earlier about like people that injuring themselves and coming back a little faster. It probably could be due to like just advances in how they're rehabbing and like doing like the surgeries to repair like ACLs and all that stuff now too. But like even for instance, the Aaron Rodgers injury, like week 1 of football season this year, tears his Achilles and is out. And now we're on week 10, so it's been 9 weeks since he tore it, and he's already up walking around, no crutches after surgery and everything, which is pretty crazy. It's like for a torn Achilles, and now he's no crutches walking around. So that's a pretty quick turnaround. He's still not by far to the point where he's good to play again by any means, but he's moving along much faster than you really would anticipate.
Well, and the Achilles it's a very important tendon. I mean, it controls everything in the foot basically. I mean, that's a massive injury, and a lot of people, whenever you tear that, it's a career-ending injury, and it just changes everything on your mobility, because once that tendon gets ruptured, man, it's a difficult one to come back from, man. That's a massive injury, and for him to be able to recover from it quicker than expected, I mean, that's promising too. But also too, the downside is though, it's always going to be in the back of his mind, and then that's makes you more injury prone, not just to your Achilles tendon, but to other areas, because like I said, you're going to start, you're going to start favoring it, and you're going to start putting the load and shifting the weight and the output into other areas, and that causes imbalances, and that causes further injury. Now, he has a lot of money and a lot of experienced coaches and physical therapists that can help him with it. So his probability of making a full recovery is way more than someone like myself who doesn't have access to those. But it doesn't mean that it's not going to affect him, because having this downtime, I guarantee you, is way worse than the actual injury itself. And that's the scary part, is having to go back and not be able to do the thing that you love the most.
Yeah, like I said, just seeing videos of him and just little short things and other people like interviewing and stuff like that. Just like I think 2 or 3 days ago, there's videos of him, and he's doing like 3-step like drop back passes already and stuff, just kind of messing around. And it's just like crazy that 9 weeks ago he was dropped on the field because he tore his Achilles.
At the same time, though, I feel like you should kind of step back and let your body heal, because pushing it that soon could make it worse. I feel like, no.
Yeah, I mean, you do need the time. I'm starting here. You do need the time to heal up properly and let the body mend, because scar tissue is going to come into play, and there will be scar tissue that builds up, and it takes a long time for it to actually build up correctly. What?
Now I was gonna say, you should take your own advice. Mr. goes and we go to a different state to get your surgery, and then you climb into the attic and start blowing insulation in our attic.
Okay,
so take your own advice.
I had the time and it needed to be done. Okay, so I had surgery on my pec, and then 5 days after having surgery, I'm in a sling. I go up into my attic and I start blowing insulation into my attic with one arm, and I go up into my garage and I'm blowing insulation in my attic as well too, after like 5-6 days back from surgery. And she's so mad at me, like, you need to stop, you need to sit down, you're just ridiculous, you're gonna hurt yourself, you're crawling around on all fours and you're not even supposed to be on your arm, and not even supposed to be doing nothing. It's like, listen, I got a week off of work, things need to be done, they're not going to get done without me doing them, and I'm not going to pay someone to do something I'm capable of. And she was just like, but you're not capable of it. I was like, well, then why am I up here doing it if I'm not capable of doing it?
How long has it been? I still can't let it go.
2.5 years.
But who slipped?
Oh, I did.
That wasn't while doing the insulation, though.
No, that was when we were painting.
After blowing in this.
No, that wasn't the painting. That was the tape. We were putting the tape up on the edges, so the insulation
wouldn't blow out.
Yeah, it wouldn't fall down through the little gaps in the garage anymore.
Yep. And that's whenever I slipped and I reached out with my bad arm and grabbed a hold of something to catch myself out of habit and popped it. Okay, so back to what we're.
Well, you don't want it on you no more?
No, I don't care. Well, it's a funny topic. Like I said, like I'm all or nothing. I'm full throttle all the time. It's one of those things. There's no such thing as halfway for me. It's either all or nothing. So
you're just a busybody. You're somebody that can't sit still. Like even when you're like, oh, I just want to relax, I just want to rest, you can't. you twiddle, and you don't know what to do, and then you get up and start doing stuff.
Well, it's like the week of Thanksgiving. I'm gonna be off for a whole week, and I'm already have it planned. Like I'm gonna replace my heater core, my Jeep, which is a 2-day job. I'm gonna do some ball joints and control arms and tie rods for a friend, and redo his whole front end for him. So I already got. I'm cooking Thanksgiving dinner for the whole family, so that's gonna be like a whole day process. And
I feel that. I'm not looking forward to that part.
I got everything planned out, so it's gonna be a busy week for me, even though I'm supposed to be relaxing and doing nothing. Okay, so back to the injury thing. So do you know what the number one most injury prone sport is in the world? The number one sport that people get hurt the absolute most with the highest risk of injury?
Soccer.
Nope.
Curling.
Nope. Girls for the girls, but nope.
Is it weightlifting?
Mm-mm.
Okay, do we get another shot?
I'll give y'all one more
What
piece.
letter does it start with?
Nope. It's got to go.
Is
go
it a
for
boy or girl sport?
Doesn't matter.
We're playing this.
No, we're just
Okay,
guess.
let me think. Wrestling.
Nope, not wrestling. All right, what's your guess?
Sport that has the most injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball.
Nope.
Cross country.
Cheerleading.
Oh,
The drops.
Yep, cheerleading is one of the most for rolled ankles, sprained ankles, people being dropped from the flyers, not being caught.
I know. That's why my tailbone shattered.
People doing their flips and then not landing them right. It's the number one most dangerous sport with the highest injury prone out of every sport in the world. And you used to do that hardcore, so you were injured as a teenager. Let's go over that for a little bit since we're talking about injuries and stuff like that. So let's go over the story about what happened to you and how you shattered your tailbone.
Well, I was a flyer because, believe it or not, guys, I used to be skinny. Okay?
Very skinny.
I know. And
You should have seen the way she looked at me. Daggers in her eyes.
well, anyways, it was before kids, okay? And
okay, when she was skinny, when we first got together, she was like almost, I don't want to say this rudely, but she was almost too skinny. Like she was small and petite, but when she gained weight, I preferred it with her having more weight because she even hated how small she was because she got it her whole life. Like, oh, why don't you eat a cheeseburger? Oh, you need to eat something. She was just small with a high metabolism. So people berated her for it all the time. So when I say skinny, I mean almost like borderline too skinny. So I'm not saying like it was a healthy skinny. It was almost like to the point where it's just kind of like, yeah, it's.
But it wasn't because I didn't eat, guys. Just want to throw that out there. It was just genetics.
You ate. She would eat. She wasn't scared or shy to eat and everything. It's just high metabolism.
I didn't even hit 100 pounds till I was full-term pregnant with our daughter. That's how skinny I was.
Okay. So
but anyways, back
no reason
to
look at me like that, just to clarify.
back to the good old days when I was skinny. But I was a flyer in cheerleading, and you have to trust the people that are holding you up in the air. Well, they dropped me, and so I shattered my tailbone.
That was a very climatic story there.
You always tell me I'm not good at telling stories.
I was on the edge of my seat, biting my fingernails. I didn't know which way it was going, and then now you just dropped the bomb, and I'm just like, there has to be a sequel to this.
Don't quit my day job.
Don't quit your day job. So, but yeah, so you were the flyer, and they threw you up. And how many people were your base that was supposed to catch you?
There's 2 bases, and there's a back spot.
So did anything else happen like that to anyone else while you were in cheerleading, or what other injuries?
All the time.
What other injuries did you see while you were cheerleading?
A lot of broken wrists. Same thing. You get dropped, and your reaction is to catch yourself. And so there's a lot of wrist injuries, and of course with tumbling. Just like our daughter, she was a flyer and cheer at school, and she got dropped. And it was like face first, and it was either, hey, you're going to land on your face or you're going to catch yourself. And she caught herself, and then her wrist we thought was broken. They said it was broken. We went to a orthopedic surgeon, and it ended up just being really sprained, but still.
Yeah, and the thing too is you didn't do like high school cheer. You were competitive cheer. You were actually like, you would compete at state and national, and also you're at the level where people were actually using their cheerleading as a way to go to college, and it was a way to pay for them to go to college for their cheerleading and stuff like that. So what you did was actually high competitive level of cheerleading, not like in the NFL where they just sit there and shake their pom-poms and maybe
to me that's not even like the NFL cheerleading isn't even cheerleading to me. That's more of what we would have called like drill team, where they just dance on the sidelines. Like they don't actually throw anybody up in the air, do any flips or anything like that. They're literally just there to look pretty. And they do. I mean, don't get me wrong, they do what they're supposed to do, but they're not cheerleaders to me. Yeah.
My cousin was Danielle Gilbo. She was a Texas
Delaney.
Yeah,
almost
I don't know why I
had
said
it.
Danielle. Yeah, Delaney. Oh my God, I can't even remember my own cousin's name.
Wow, he's telling the truth, guys.
Yeah, Delaney Gilbo. She's my cousin and stuff. So She was a cheerleader for 4 years, and I have nothing to do with her. I rarely ever see her. I only see her maybe once every 5 years. So,
But to me, like I said, those aren't cheerleading. That's not cheerleading to me. Don't come at me. I mean, I'm not saying it's not hard, but it's dance to me. What they do.
did you ever see anyone get hurt so bad that they had to actually completely stop?
Oh, many times, and especially in gymnastics, like with Kylie, a lot of our daughter's Kylie, by the way, but a lot of her gym mates had to quit because they would get injured. Because you turn in like you're in the competitive level, like you said, and you're pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and they would get hurt often. Even Kylie, our daughter, she messed up her growth plate in her hip. And so it ended up setting her back, and she got that fear where anytime she would do anything when she went back, she was scared of it happening again and again and again. And eventually we're like, why are we paying this much money if you're this scared?
Yeah, and that fear will hold you back. And like I said, man, like every time I got hurt, it wasn't the fear of the pain. It was always the fear of the downtime. So that's what I truly feel like. I honestly believe that the best in the world become the best because they could go the longest without getting hurt, and the ones that become the best stay the best because they could go the longest without getting injured. And the ones that get injured and get hurt and they have hiccups, and we all get beat up, we all get bumps and bruises and aches and pains, but there's a difference between being hurt and being injured. You know, if you're hurt and you got elbow pain or knee pain or you got a little bit of, back tenderness or tightness, that's just being hurt, right? That's not injured. Like injured is if you break, tear, pop, separate, like that's an injury, something that you can't recover from on your own, or if you do recover from your own, it takes a very, very, very long time to recover and extensive rehab and rehabilitation to recover from. So there's a big difference, and it's always a shame when someone has the heart and passion for it and they have the mindset and the fortitude, then they get held back because of injury. And those are the people that deserve it the most, but their bodies let them down. And unfortunately, it doesn't matter how they trained or what they did, what coach they had, what program they had, their prehab, their rehab, their nutrition, their hydration, the injury was going to come regardless. It's just how their body was. And there's people out there that can just haphazardly throw it around as hard as they want and never get injured. And that's like Richard. Richard's never been hurt in the gym that I can think of. And I don't think you've ever had an injury in the gym, right?
Yeah, no major injury, no like torn muscles or tendons or ligaments, is to my knowledge, like nothing like that or whatever. I have like impingement issues on different things, but that's just more like a mobility thing, like I've talked about multiple times, that I have to work on. But yeah, as far as like an actual tearing kind of thing and stuff like that, I haven't had anything like that so far. Hopefully that continues to go that way, but we'll see in however long till it happens.
Yeah.
I haven't really been hurt in the gym either.
No, you haven't. I mean, you get little bumps and bruises and aches and pains, but you never are.
But
really
I have a lot of injuries from other, like my past life. That sounds weird to say, but like back in my day, I have scoliosis and stuff. So certain exercises do like downfall me a little bit more than others, but I do all right.
Yeah, I think we all do. It's like getting older and age too.
Stubbed my toe on like one of the benches before. That was pretty bad.
Yeah, like stepping on a Lego. So, but
it always reminds me of that meme. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, well, I think that's going to be it for me on this one. Obviously, you had a little bit more, and are you guys done? Anything else y'all want to round up on or close up on? Or
well, my favorite topic is me, so I can do it all day.
Well, that's true. It is. You can't talk about you. I think we all can for the most part.
No, I'm just playing.
So, but like I said, hey guys, we appreciate y'all stopping by and checking us out. If you made it this far in the video, we appreciate it if y'all leave a like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel and you would like to, we appreciate that too. If you don't want to like or subscribe to the channel, you don't have to. But let's be honest, if you made it this far, you might as well go ahead and hit that like button and that subscribe button for us. But until tomorrow, we appreciate y'all watching.
Alrighty.
Later.